But anyhow, about that time, the signal test man, the inspector, retired. And the boss wanted me to take that job. I had a good reputation. And I didn't want it, because I like to maintain, but I thought, well, it's temporary. It'll be a good experience, because you travel a lot and you see a lot of things that you're not used to. And I did. But I found out it wasn't temporary after I got on it. I couldn't get off. I could move, and I didn't want to move, because we lived in this house then. So, I kept the darn test job. And it turned out a good deal. And the Rock Island went broke where it was somewhere around 1980, I don't remember. And there I was, didn't know what to do, but I had a chance to go to Hutchinson, Kansas on the SP for a little bit, and I did that. And then the Katy took over operating the Rock Island part of it there. And that Rock Island signal system was a CTC system that was antique, and nobody knew anything about it. The Katy didn't have any experience signalman. So they offered me a supervisor job. I'd come back there, so I come back to to El Reno. And that job lasted about a year or so. And then this is all the government putting up deal. UP and the Katy, the government. Was the Katy pulled out, but a bunch of lawyers took over that part of the railroad down there, and they kept me in the same office, the same job, and actually nothing to do for about a year, wasn't it? And then they gave it back up, and the Katy took over again, and they wanted me to come to Waco, supervisor, and that's the only choice I had. I didn't know place else to go. I was getting too old to hire out most people. And so they made me take a physical, and they said, you're disqualified on account of your back. So I called Arlene and said, we're done. I got no job. It's 5 o'clock tonight. And about 4:30 they called up and said, we decided to waive that back, and we want you to come to Waco. So I went to Waco, and I don't know how long I was there in an apartment there, about a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, seemed like it.
Something like that.
Yeah. And that was an interesting job too, and on that whole end of the railroad. But the Katy had almost went broke and got government money, and all of their signalmen, experienced signalmen, older heads, had all retired. And they done away with the communication that went to bell phone and radio. And they made the the communication engineer, signal engineer. Truthfully, he knew nothing about signals, and admit it. But he said he was a manager, and he was a dang poor manager. And then his assistant signal engineer was more or less a moron, had a third grade education, but he knew what was on the Katy. He couldn't read a blueprint, but he'd been there so long, he had the experience, and he knew what was there. And they wanted me to come down there as assistant signal engineer. And of course, I didn't really have a choice. But they wanted me to move to Denison. So I was looking around for property, and I guess I voiced my opinion about it. And they decided to make me signal engineer, assistant signal engineer at Denison and El Reno, because they was running the Rock Island Railroad. And they gave me a company car and expense account. And they run my tail off one end of Houston, San Antonio, Galveston, all them places, Kansas City, Wichita, Memphis, everywhere, on trouble, because they didn't have any experienced people, and I run my bottle. But I had a full expense account and a nice car, and I got fat. And I had fun. And I get home every once in a while. I think I got home quite often, didn't I? My headquarters are here, I was home.
Seemed like almost every weekend.
Every weekend. And I had a crazy boss. I had a derailment down there in Fort Worth, right on transfer switches on a Friday. And I called the tractor people, and I knew they wouldn't be fixing that over the weekend for overtime. And I called the track people and superintendent, no, we're not going to do that Monday. My boss called me up and said, you got to go down there. And I said, my boss, Bob, I said, I don't need to go down there. They're not going to work on it the week. They are too. I want you to Fort Worth. And I tried my best to talk him out, but I got to go to Fort Worth. So I got in the car and started to Fort Worth. And I got to Fort Worth. He called me up and he said, well, they're not going to do anything Monday. You can go home. But he was doing that all the time. He wouldn't listen to things. And that was really a blessing, and I think a blessing from God all the way through, because I wound up with a pension off of the railroad retirement, of course. an officer's pension off the Katy, an officer's pension off the UP, and it really improved our finances quite a bit. And then too, the UP at my age, when the UP was they took over the Katy and everything, and they'd getting organized. They come up with a plan to retire everybody of a certain age with so many years experience, and I think they wound up paying me 2 years to go home, did they?
Something like that.
And you can't hardly beat that.
Yeah.
And we bought a motor home and had a lot of fun for a while.